That's exciting. Good for them. Also this morning, there are new concerns over that massive data breach at Equifax. It's affecting nearly every adult in the United States. One question that's gaining some traction: if so many Social Security numbers have now been compromised, is it time to actually just do away with them altogether? NBC's Tom Costello's been working the story since it broke. Tom, good morning to you.
Hi guys, good morning. So those white and blue cards we all have were never meant to be used as a tax ID or a healthcare number, but now there's a good chance our numbers have all been stolen, and that makes us all very vulnerable. The worst hack of personal data in U.S. history.
This concerns Equifax.
Gets worse by the day.
Welcome to the Equifax Automated Security Freeze System.
With the nation's 3 credit agencies swamped with calls from millions of Americans trying to put a fast freeze on their credit reports. 143 million names, Social Security numbers, DOBs, addresses, driver's licenses, all stolen.
What we've seen here is the most outrageous, the most egregious example of a company not doing what it needs to do when it comes to protecting consumer information.
In a USA Today editorial, Equifax CEO Rick Smith writes, "We are devoting extraordinary resources to make sure this kind of incident doesn't happen again." Meanwhile, those blue and white Social Security cards we all have were first issued in 1935 when FDR was president, and they haven't changed much. But if they have all been stolen, is it a time for a 21st century high-tech makeover?
It shouldn't be harder to get into my iPhone than it is to hack my Social Security number.
Over the years, Social Security numbers morphed into a sort of national identification number.
Our Social Security number for somebody like me is linked to our whole life. Should we change that? Absolutely.
Without one, you can't get a job, take out a loan, buy a house, file taxes, get into college, or get health insurance.
I think we can finally now drive a stake through the heart of this entire system. Social Security numbers were never meant to be a secret. They were never meant to be any kind of a security tool. And now they probably never will be again.
It may be up to the financial industry to come up with new, secure ways to verify identities. Among the options, constantly changing electronic numbers, 2- and 3-step authentications, even biometric measures including fingerprints, face, or iris scans. Is this going to be the wake-up call when the country decides it's time to move beyond Social Security numbers?
It needs to be the wake-up call. We repeatedly, year after year, have these wake-up calls, and we hit the snooze button. There's no more snooze buttons.
So here's the catch. Our Social Security numbers make it easy to run fast credit checks so customers can make impulse buys or sign up in-store for those credit cards. If that changes, retailers could feel the impact very, very quickly. Guys?
So a lot of folks are urging you to do a credit freeze. What does that even mean? How do you do it?
So I've done it, and here's what you do. You go online or you call the nation's 3 credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And yes, you need to call them all. It's an automated service, and they've been flooded with requests, so it does take time. But here's what you do. You type in your state, your Social Security number, your numeric address, all of that, which means only businesses you already do business with can have access to your credit. Criminals are locked out, but if a bank or a company needs to run a legitimate credit check, like you need to take out a car loan, or maybe you're going to apply to college, you need to unfreeze your report. Don't forget it.
And does this cost anything, Tom, to freeze and unfreeze?
So Equifax right now is freezing for free. Some agencies charge $5 to $10 to freeze and unfreeze, which can then be, again, a hassle, and it starts to add up. You got to remember that your credit is frozen if you suddenly need that credit. And here's the other thing. You got to remember your PIN number, which they will give you when you freeze. Write it down, put it in a secure place, because in a year or 2 or 3, you need that PIN number again to unfreeze.
Yeah, and by the way, Equifax better be freezing for free right now. That would be a disaster. Tom, thank you.
All right, Mr. Roper, check of the weather?
Yes, this is free.
Did that ever come up? I didn't see it.
Yes, well, it did come up, Tom. It's okay. Good on you.